Neil Carlson here in Walsh County, North Dakota, where a death investigation is underway. I'm about a mile north of Minto, North Dakota, some 25 miles northwest of Grand Forks. Here's what we know so far. Last Friday, a woman left work in Grafton, North Dakota, and never returned home. Late Friday afternoon, a burned out vehicle was found here about a mile north of Minto and then east of Highway 81 out by those railroad tracks. I'm told by Sheriff Jurgens that deputies had to get to the scene using a payloader. Now, I've learned the name of a woman believed to be in her 50s who has not returned to her home in Minto yet, but her name is not being released yet because, as you'll hear Walsh County Sheriff Ron Jurgens say, those human remains have not yet been identified.
On Friday, so the 18th, about 5:30 p.m. of a vehicle, a burned out vehicle, with possible human remains in the vehicle. Because of the storm conditions, we needed heavy equipment to go out to where the area was, which was approximately a mile north of Minto, out into a field. And once we were at the scene, we found a vehicle with human remains inside. The burned out vehicle had a license plate on, so we sent the human remains to get an autopsy at UND, and we're pending more investigation on identification of that body.
So you can't say male or female, or?
So at this point, we're still doing some follow-up on it. As you can expect, it was very difficult to identify anything in that vehicle. So,
did this vehicle crash, or is it sitting out in a field or in the ditch? Or?
It was out in a field. Our feeling is because of the blizzard conditions, the driver became disoriented and ended up out in a field rather than on a roadway. If you remember Friday,
yeah.
It was whiteout conditions, and so that's okay. We're doing more investigation on this, but there is we're not looking for anybody at this point.
Okay. Did it look like the car had rolled over or crashed?
No,
it was just sitting there.
It was just sitting there. There was no crash-related damage to that vehicle.
All right. Well, it would lead someone to think that's kind of suspicious. If your car started on fire, why didn't you get out? But
that is all part of the stuff that we're investigating, and I understand that concern, and we are investigating that all the leads that we can try and identify the person and try and figure out what happened.
Okay.
There's probably going to be a lot of unanswered questions at this point because of the condition of the vehicle, and it's not like you can take an ID and go and say this is our person, right?
Okay.
So we are investigating all the leads, but at this point, the remains remain unidentified at this point.
I'm assuming you kind of know who it is. The word we got is somebody left work in Grafton and never got home. But
we believe that the person that is in that vehicle is the person that is a registered owner of that vehicle.
Okay. All right. So basically, in all this, you got to wait for autopsy results to see if for positive ID and whether there was any foul play in this and whatnot.
We're awaiting DNA confirmation.
Okay.
So it depends on the lab on how fast that process takes, but we're hoping that we can get that process.
Okay. So this had to go down to DNA identification.
It did, yes.
Okay. And does that also going to maybe leave a lot of questions whether any foul play was involved here, or?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think the investigators and the deputies that were out there can, they do their investigation at the scene, and I think there's going to be some unanswered questions, yes, but I don't think there will be any unanswered questions about that.
We'll keep you updated as soon as any new information is available. I'm Neil Carlson reporting for iNewZ.TV.